Hey, it's Don Skaggs again for Empowered Inventing, the one place you can go where we try to help you help other people by taking your great innovation, the right opportunity, mixing that with sound wisdom so you can turn them into real things like products and businesses. Now, today I've got what might sound like a strange question, and sometimes you'll hear me say that a lot, but I want to ask you a question, and that is, what does an airplane and a product or a business have in common? Now, really, truly, there is an important parallel I want to talk about here. And because if you think about it, what makes a working airplane and a product in the marketplace stay in the air have a lot in common. Now think about what it takes to keep a plane from just falling out of the sky. You know, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, people, they just wouldn't be able to wrap their minds around the concept of these large, heavy metal objects just flying through the air at 30,000 feet. And it's an amazing feat that's performed every day by thousands upon thousands of planes. And, back before the Wright brothers, they would scoff at them and say, oh, if a man was meant to fly, he'd have wings. That's one of the things they used to say. And they say, this is crazy. You'll never be able to do this. Well, they did this, and now it's done every day. It's so commonplace, we don't even think about it. Now, think about, though, what it takes, though, to keep these big, heavy metal objects full of people from just falling out of the sky. Well, number one, it has to be designed based on tried and true principles that are known to work. They just didn't throw a bunch of parts together and say, oh, okay, this will be fine. Yeah, I think this will work. I really, really believe this is going to fly. And yeah, I've got it all together, and I'm just sure of this. But they've never really, it's not based on anything and they don't have any, let's say they put it together and they've had no background, but they've seen some airplanes fly and they've watched some TV shows and there were airplanes flying in it, and they're sure they have this down pat. So you have to really base what you're building on tried and true principles. They just don't let anybody put a plane together. So the design also must be tested to make sure that it's going to work on a larger scale. They don't just throw these planes together and say, okay, let's fill them full of people and send them out and see what happens. No, they don't. They test these things. I'm not absolutely sure of this, but I think I'd heard one time that they actually even can remote test these things where there's nobody in it. So if it does crash, then nobody's hurt, really, as long as it didn't crash into anything important. So, but anyway, it must also be properly maintained to keep all the parts working. If you let things break down, all of a sudden the wheels don't come down when you're getting ready to land, then you're doing a belly flop, and that's never fun for anybody. So you have to properly maintain things, make sure everything's working. They've got a maintenance schedule. They check things. Okay, is this still working like it's supposed to? This is not sounding right. This is not acting exactly right. We've had a sensor go off saying something's a little off here. Let's check it out and make sure it's working right. And that's how you get planes to fly every day, and you don't hear about 1,000 crashes a day. If there is a flaw in the design, or if it doesn't pass testing, or if it's not properly maintained, you know what's going to happen next. Now, the same is true. I want you to draw a good parallel here, because the same is true, and some of you might already know where I'm going with all this, but the same is very true for inventors, inventions, products, and businesses. Because an invention not only has to work functionally, and you have to prove that it works. You have to prove it to yourself with a Frankentype, prove it to other people with a demo type. We've got videos and classes on that. But it has to functionally work, but it also has to work in the marketplace. And by that I mean you have to know people are going to buy it. Is there really a market? And so you'll want to test it. And if you have a product, an invention, and you can make a small lot of these and you can take and test them, again with the right strategies in place, IP strategies, and you know, just following our idea steps that we teach, you want to test it in a very small venue, but a provable scale venue. If it works with 100, it'll work with 1,000. If it works with 1,000, it'll work with 10,000. That's how you want to test it, and that's how you keep it and do it lean. So you've not lost all this money, you've not filled the plane full of passengers just to test it out and see if it's going to fly or crash. So no one also or what I meant to say is, if you don't pay attention to maintaining, and this is especially to startups and small businesses. Those of you who are listening that have startups and small businesses, I want you to pay special attention to this, because if you're not paying attention to your business, it will crash and burn. I have seen it happen. I've seen people do what I call, actually I read this in a book one time, manage by abdication. I thought that was a great way to word this. In other words, you've abdicated the throne, so to speak, and you just let other people manage stuff. I'll see this with startups. I'll see this with small businesses. I don't see it too many. Sometimes I'll see it with startups. I'll see it with small businesses where they just kind of let other people do everything, and they sit back and they go play golf, or they just, they go and they're not paying attention to it. They're chasing other little things, and they're not paying attention to the business as a whole. I've seen inventors do this, to where you want to have what I call the throw the keys approach, where you just want to take the keys, you want to take these keys and you just want to toss them and say, here you go, just make me rich. Here's my wallet too. Here's all my money. And that's called managed by abdication, and it will ruin you, because no one is going to make this work like you are. No one's going to care about it like you do. So what does a plane and a product or a business have in common? Both will crash and burn if you don't make them work. If you don't work hard, if you don't put forth that effort. A great deal of effort is put forth to keep a plane safely in the air, and all the planes flying all over all the time. And the same is true if you're not putting forth an effort to keep your business, keep your startup, take your product and move it forward. They will both crash and burn. Now, if you're looking for more information on taking your idea and turning it into a profitable product or business, then you're going to want to check out Idea to Income. It's one of our courses at empoweredinventing.com, and it takes you through that whole process of kind of an overview of taking your idea and taking it and getting it into a profitable product, maybe a licensing deal, or a profitable business if you're taking the startup route. Either way, or a hybrid of both. We talk about that as well. But anyway, check those out. They're on empoweredinventing.com. I'm Don Skaggs. This is Empowered Inventing TV, and I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, maybe one of our online classes, or on the next video.